Hello everyone, I'm Gigi. I'm a Coptic homeschooling mom of 4 kids ages 7, 5, 4, and 21 months. One of the most common questions I get asked is, what is your schedule? What does your day look like? And people love seeing like detailed schedules. Now, I get a little bit skeptical sharing our schedule for a couple of reasons, and it does not have to do with privacy. It's just that this is our 4th year homeschooling, so this has been a work in progress. And given my personality, I love detail and scheduling. I love just like following a skeleton. So before I share my schedule, I still want to share with you another schedule of one other homeschooling mom that is a mentor of mine. Her schedule is they're free all morning. They have like their chores and stuff that she kind of establishes for the family, but their school time is between 1 and 3 p.m. and that's for all children except maybe the high schooler. She said more recently she has to do a lot more or a bit more independent work, so it does go outside of the 2-hour bracket. So that's kind of the schedule she's gone with. That works amazingly for her. And when she looked at my schedule, she's like, "You're nuts, that's a lot of detail." So I just wanted to give you that as an intro to say that if you are the type that is a lot more like relaxed and likes to kind of like see how the flow of the day is going and school that way, that's totally fine. Okay, so I'm gonna put up our homeschooling schedule that I like to follow, or I've been following this year. So it's gonna be on one of my sides. You should be seeing it now. So that's kind of an overview of the schedule that I have progressively kind of reached to this year, but it does get changed pretty much monthly. So usually whenever a new unit is starting, which is monthly, I'll just like relook at the schedule, tweak it, and see if I want to change anything. So let's go through it together. You'll see that for us, we start breakfast at 9 because of me. Like, I'm the one that sleeps in. The kids wake up earlier than me and they hang out and play with each other until I get up, get ready, which means just hustle downstairs pretty much, and prepare their breakfast. So by 9 o'clock, breakfast is ready and we eat breakfast at 9. Now, ideally at 9:30, we start our chores. Now, again, our kids are pretty young. So we had them, like, our oldest just turned 7 a couple weeks ago. So it was like a 6, a 5, and a 3-year-old, but I still wanted to give them the concept of chores. So what I've done for our chores is I've created like the circle chart. So it's like a circle that rotates on another circle. So the back circle has a picture of our living room, a picture of our family room, and a picture of our kitchen, okay? And then a smaller circle in front of that has like a pushpin in the middle, so it rotates, and it has the 3 kids' names on it. I hope I'm explaining that properly. The next day it'll rotate, and each day they have a different space to clean, okay? And their chore is just to tidy that area. So just remove toys off the floor, and I give them the broom. I expect them to sweep the floor, but they're not very good at it. So it requires a lot of help just to get them in the habit of chore time. And it does kind of help us at least tidy the main floor before we head to the basement, which is our school space. So 10 o'clock is when our school time starts. That's when we head downstairs. Our basement is our school space. So we meet at our brown carpet in the basement. So when we head down, they just give me like a couple minutes. Like, our basement is like full of toys and stuff like that as well. So they kind of free play for a few minutes until I gather what I need for that day's kind of intro. So I bring to the carpet 2 books, our social studies reading and our Bible devotion book. And I go and I sit with them in the brown carpet. So on the brown carpet, we do a song. The school fun train is coming, how are you, choo choo, or like good morning, whatever. I just literally YouTube any like circle time songs, and we do a song to gather us in the morning to start off our school day. We talk about how do you feel today and why. We talk about the weather, the calendar, any upcoming birthdays, and then I refer them up to like a bulletin board behind us that has like some of our themes that we're doing that month. So in our spiritual program, which you'll see coming up soon, this year we've been doing the titles of God. So I have a picture of Christ with like kind of like speech bubbles saying, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, I am the door. So I'll refer them like, this month, do you remember what title of God we're doing? And we have up on that bulletin board also the verse of the week, so we'll kind of review that as well. And talk about the service of the week, which again, I'm going to refer to in the schedule, but that's when we kind of mention those things. If it needs prep or anything like that, we'll kind of chat about it. Then we move into the social study reading. So that depends on, if you look at the schedule, see the blue unit study program at 3 o'clock there. Each month I've picked like a different unit study, not necessarily all science. We've done transportation, we've done buildings, but we've also done bugs, and we've done sports, we've done ethnic food. So it's stuff that I know my kids are super interested in, and I just create that curriculum. And in the videos where I talk to you guys about the curriculum, I'm going to show you a lot more detail about that. So our social study reading usually has to do with the unit study. So for the unit study that was about Egypt this year, I had a book that I purchased from Amazon for like a children's book about Egypt, not like a story. It's like Egypt facts and stuff like that. And I would read to them like a small chapter each day. It's very picture heavy, and it has just a few fun facts about Egypt, and that would be our social reading. Sometimes I do other things that I find important that are not necessarily attached to the unit. So we did a book in the beginning of the year when we were doing our bugs unit. The social study reading was not about insects. It was about schools around the world, which I loved that book. Still on the brown carpet. Each chapter was like a different place in the world that does school differently, like places, poor cities in India where school is a boat that goes around picking up students, and they stay on the boat for 2 hours. That's their school, and it drops them back off and then rotates and like picks up more kids. So it gave him such a cool perspective on how schools can be so different. Schools in native communities, in caves, on mountains, and how schools have to accommodate for those things. So that was a really cool unit. So that's what we do at that time. We read a social study little chapter. And then at 10:15, we do our devotional. So that's the other book that I've brought with me to the brown carpet, and it's just a children's devotions. Sometimes it's like a book called Animals in the Bibles, and I'll just read one chapter, or whatever, like your first Bible story, anything like that. And we read one chapter, and that becomes the grounds for their quiet time. So at 10:15 there on the schedule, you'll see devotional and then quiet time. So right after we read that devotional, I tell them, go find your quiet time notebooks, which are in their little school bins. Each one goes and gets their quiet time notebook, and they sit on the school table. And they have a few minutes of quiet time to either write or draw about what we just read. And I try to encourage that time to be quiet. It's not usually, but I try to encourage it. So yeah, we have our quiet time, and as they're doing that, I prepare our spiritual program, which I just mentioned this year was the Titles of God. It's a program that I put together myself every August, and I write out the curriculum per day. Like, I know if you take a look at our schedule, it's 3 days a week we're doing the spiritual program. That's in the green there. So in August, I pick a theme, Titles of God, and we school for 9 months. So that's September to May. And so I pick, based on that theme, 9 kind of sub-themes that we're going to do each month, and 3 lessons per week of what I'm going to teach. And I try to be as detailed as possible in my prep, and I'll give you a lot more information on that when I do a curriculum video. So I prepare kind of the craft or the experiment or whatever that is going to be done in that spiritual program. And that goes from 10:30 to 11. So I stop them kind of in the quiet time. I say like, oh, a couple minutes left, you guys, finish up what you need to. And once the time is up, I'm like, okay, now we're going to do our spiritual program, which they look forward to because it's a hands-on, cool kind of program. Usually there's like puppets, or I'll dress funny and I'll ask them silly questions about the song, or like a felt board story, something, or not about the song, about the story that we're learning about, or whatever it may be. That's our spiritual program. It goes for about half an hour. I try to include like a craft at the end, and we put up the crafts on the wall so that they can see their artwork. Then they all go and sit on the couch that faces our TV, and they have 15 minutes of hymns time. So this year I'm trying to teach them the hymns of the liturgy. and I suck at that. So what I've done is I've taken like an audio recording of the liturgy from our church and basically just clipped out the audio portions of the hymns, and I put a cartoon from YouTube over it. So they're just watching the cartoon that has no audio really attached to it except the hymn. And we play it over and over. During that time, I get them a snack, like apple slices, pretzel sticks, something like that. Then as they sit there watching the hymns and eating their snack, I go back to the school table area and I prepare our alphabet program. So for my middle two kids, who are my SK and my preschooler, it's still English alphabet because they're still trying to learn their letters and letter sounds. So it's like tracing activities, puzzles, things like that that teach them their letters. My oldest, that's where I taught him, or we're trying still to learn the Coptic language. So I just found some resources online, put together a few lessons, made some quizzes, some flashcards, things like that. And we're still learning the Coptic language together. So far he knows like the numbers, the fruits, the colors, days of the week, and obviously the alphabet. We started with the alphabet and reading and phonics in that new language. So that's been a really cool blessing that we were able to include that in our homeschool. All of this fun stuff ends at noon when there is free time for mama to prepare lunch. So during that time, so I'm looking at Monday right now, there's free play while I prepare lunch. Lunch is usually around 12:30, and then they free play again after it. We don't resume for school again until 1:30. So around at 1:30, that's when our toddler goes for a nap, and we go downstairs again. I start school with a read aloud. So that's like a story, any story. It could be a storybook. It could be one of those like Aesop's fables. It could be anything. Like I just basically pick something and just follow it through that year or the month or whatever. I read a story, and then we do our core curriculum work. So that's language and math and writing. So that's our core schoolwork. It goes for about 45 minutes, sometimes a little longer. And I kind of bribe them. So if they finish that, all three of them finish their core work, then we get half an hour of ABC Mouse, which is kind of like a learning app on a tablet or a phone or a screen or whatever. So they have ABC Mouse. Then at 3 o'clock, we resume again for our unit study program, which is also exciting. So it's easy for them to kind of let go of the screen to go do our unit study. So 1 month could be ocean animals, 1 month could be, like I mentioned, transportation, whatever it is. And I have that prepared in advance from August. That's our unit study. That ends around 3:30. And again, now there's more free play until 5. That's usually when dinner is. If you look at Monday, I kind of included some evening activities as well to give you an idea of, because lots of people are like, do they not see anybody all throughout the day? I always try to go out at least once a day so that we're not just, even just for me, I'm a very extroverted person, so I would go crazy. So for Mondays, for example, we have some free play, but at 4:30 to 6:30, we used to go to Lifetime, and that's a gym, a local gym that we have that has awesome kids programs. So I go either work out or just sit in the cafe and stare at the wall quietly. And the kids get to play kind of like in the kids program, which is called the Kids Academy in Lifetime. They have sports, activities, chilling with other kids, arts and crafts, whatever they pick based on their age group. So they had 2 hours of Lifetime on Mondays and Thursdays. So our Monday and Thursday dinner was way later. It was at 7. So I used to give them a snack. I was always sure to give them a snack on the way to the gym. And our bedtime is at 8:30. So that's our standard Monday. You'll see that Tuesday is very similar, except right after the alphabet program, which is time usually for free play and lunch prep. That's when I used to prepare for co-op, because we had a weekly co-op. So a co-op is a meetup of local homeschooling families. And our homeschool co-op was from 12:30 to 3 on Tuesdays. So we would just hang out. The kids had programs based on their age groups, and the parents kind of like led lessons and stuff like that. It has a membership fee, and there's always local awesome homeschooling groups that you can be part of and should be part of. So that's till 3 o'clock, and then we came back, did our core schoolwork after, and had an earlier dinner at 5. That was our Tuesday. It changed, so there's no unit study program on Tuesday. Wednesday, we always did a midweek liturgy. And then I used to bring breakfast with me to church if we have something straight after the liturgy, like the service outing. Or if the service outing didn't work out to be right after Mass, we'd go home after Mass and have like a brunch at that time. So we'd have liturgy that ended around 11:15, 11:30. We'd have a snack just in the cafeteria of the church, and then we'd do our service outing, which I tried really hard to get them involved in weekly. And it was just a different idea each week. Sometimes we'd go home and bake banana bread and give it to our next door neighbor. Sometimes it was stay back at church and I'll bring wipes and little gloves and spray, and we'd clean the church and rearrange the books. It could be anything. Some days it didn't happen to work out for Wednesday at noon. So if, for example, we're going to visit a senior's home or something, and they were only available Thursday evening, then that time slot would just be free play at home. So we'd go home, and then there's kind of a similar afternoon schedule like Monday. Wednesday evening, if you take a look, it says date night. That's not myself and my husband. That's something that we were doing with our kids, which I love, and I wanted to share with you guys. We basically would rotate. So I would take a month and Mina would take a month of taking out one child per week. All right, so Thursday looks almost exactly the same. I think it is exactly identical to Monday, except dinner was at my mother-in-law's. Don't have to cook, yay. Then on Friday, that's a different day. We started with Chores still, but that was our field trip day. So I tried really hard to book an outing that is related to the unit study if possible. If not, that's okay. We used to go to the library, the aquarium, the zoo, the local like park, anything like that, to just be out of the house and have like a fun free morning. So that means spiritual program also took place 3 days of the week only. Unit study was really 4 days because this was our 4th day. Sometimes it would be part of it. So we'd go to, like, if we're doing the solar system, we'd go to the observatory or whatever. Then the afternoon is very similar, except instead of unit study there, we did some French work. We did used to have a French homeschooling program that we were at weekly, but it eventually got canceled. There wasn't enough registrations. So I'm trying to do at least some, so instead of ABC Mouse, after their core program work, they did half-an-hour French video. So they just watched some YouTube French videos, songs, whatever, things like that. And then I'd give them a small French lesson and worksheet. Then that's it. We'd have free play and dinner and wait for Daddy to get home. I think our hardest time was always like right before dinner and before Daddy's arriving. That's when I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait until he gets here. That's when we're most tempted to do like some screen time and stuff like that. But given the structure, it helped me so much to, when the kids say like, I'm bored, I'm like, well, we're supposed to be doing this, let's get to it. I just function that way much better. So that's kind of what I have for our schedule. If you have any questions, please feel free to either comment or reach out to me. I would love to chat and answer any questions you have. And if you have any other ideas of videos that would be helpful for me to make for you to make this kind of decision easier, or the transition easier, feel free to message me or let me know. Best of luck, and I'll see you later. Bye.